Hello and welcome to First Pick.
The best place for all things magic and nerdy.
Today we're talking formats, we're talking Commander, we're talking Planechase, and we're talking Flip It and Rip It.
Possibly the best game mode in all of Magic. We'll also be cracking a pack of Modern Masters 2017. To save John, we won't be flipping or ripping this pack. Thankfully. So yeah, we're going to be talking about Commander and our experiences with it. General, what a funny pun. We're going to be talking about our experiences with Commander, introducing Planechase to it as well, so we become true Planeswalkers of the highest form. We're going to be discussing some other casual formats, just some generic fun things you can do to have more fun with Magic, because whilst it's also a very competitive game, I think there should always be kind of a priority on fun. And I think that's something we generally agree on.
I can't remember the last time I really won a game against you. It's always been fun though. Always been fun.
The words of a very salty man. Yeah.
That is my name.
Exactly. So we'll be cracking some Modern Masters and we'll be deciding what is our first pick. This pack I bought yesterday alongside some Eternal Masters, which I played some Flip It or Rip It with, which John can tell you is the best mode to ever exist in the entire world of anything ever. I can tell you now, for those wanting to know, Ripped was my rare, which was an 8.5 tails, which isn't too bad. It's only like a $1 rare, and a couple of other small common cards. I actually got some pretty good value out of the flipped cards. I got a foil Young Pyromancer, a Counterspell, and a Brainstorm, amongst some other ones. So pretty happy with it, and they'll be going towards my EDH deck. Also got to trigger John, which was
No, I don't like that.
Shall we put in that image that you took of the pile?
We might do.
Pile of ripped.
We might do.
If we do, it's here right now in front of our faces. And for those of you just listening to the podcast, watch this on YouTube or VidMe. It's going to be way better, way more entertaining. So, without further ado, shall we crack Modern Masters?
Yeah, why not? Sounds good.
This pack is practically falling apart at this point. I kind of almost tore it open yesterday. Yeah, pretty bad, I know. So we'll find out what's inside. So we got a Golem token, which is pretty cool. A Golem token. Oh my god, okay, I think I know what our first pick is. So we got a Falconwrath Noble, Burning Tree Emissary, Druid's Deliverance, Bone Splinters, Golgari Guildgate, Mudbutton Torch Runner, Pitfall Trap, Augur of Bolus, Giant Baiting, Izzet Guildgate, Tatamung Witch, Seal of Doom, Azure Mage, and Linvala Keeper of Silence, which I'm pretty sure is the first pick, and then Hanwir Lancer. So to go over it, our commons, we've got some pretty interesting stuff, like the Burning Tree Emissary is always welcome. We've got the Guildgate and the Trap. Yeah. Well, in fact, we've got two Guildgates, so we've got both Izzet and Golgari. So if you needed mana fixing, fine, but I would hope those would, go around a little bit before being taken. I think for me it's got to be Linvala, just because she's such a strong card. I mean, she's a 3/4 with flying for 4 mana, 2 of which needs to be white, and activated abilities of creatures your opponents control can't be activated.
That is very strong. That
is incredibly strong. I did not expect to pull a Mythic in this pack, so I think that one's actually pretty simple. I mean, the question is, so let's, because Linvala is the obvious pick, which I'm actually incredibly happy about, because that's like a £40 card or something at the minute.
It's paid for the pack.
It's absurd. It's paid for the entire...
It's paid for Eternal Masters pack as well.
It's paid for the entire Flip It or Rip It experience. So let's say that didn't exist in the pack, just for the sake of actually having some kind of interesting stuff going on here. I mean, uncommons, we got a Tatamung Witch, we got a Seal of Doom, and we got an Azure Mage. So there's a pretty good spread of colours here. I have noticed though, this pack, and I don't know if you've noticed it as well, John, Which colours is this pack pretty heavy in? To me, it just screams Gruul. I think that's really the only answer, isn't it? Because we've got 3 multicoloured Gruul cards, one of which is Burning Tree, which is just nuts, right? You get your mana back for it pretty much, and it could fix you as well. Say you only had red mana and you needed a green, you could actually fix with Burning Tree, which is just nuts. Yeah, I think the Gruul is really strong because of that. I would probably... The Tatamung is tempting because of the +1/+0 and trample. At the same time, there's a lot of stuff that's pretty good here. Like Hanwei Lance is very strong, especially when bound with something. Do you know what? I think the first pick would probably be the Tatamung Witch.
Yeah.
If not for Linvala, yeah. What would you say? What would your first pick be? And I think the only reason for that is because the pack is so strong in Gruul.
Yeah.
That
well, I'm looking at the Burning Tree there. Because as you say, it's good for mana fixing, which is always good.
It's a very flexible card. Yeah. I mean, it's a bear that also gives you its mana back. It's a free bear. Essentially, yeah. Yeah. I mean, this is a 2/1, so it's susceptible to removal. Yeah. The advantage of it being, though, it's each blocked creature. So using this as a combat trick is quite nice. Yeah. Because you keep this without being without attacking. And it just seems quite flexible. It's probably not the best pick, though. I mean, the Burning Tree is definitely a strong pick, but I could see a lot of Burning Trees going around on the table regardless. Yeah. To me, as a mage, 4 to draw a card, not the best value. The Pitfall Trap can be useful in the right situation. Mud Button is just adorable, as always. But to me, I think that the Tatamung Witch and the Burning Tree would stand out for me. So I'd say that's the right picks. Yeah. What we'll do is we will put these up on screen temporarily, and if you have a different opinion to us, or if you agree with us, leave a comment below with what you would first pick. It'd be really interesting to see, and then yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see in general, what kind of stuff people pick and if they agree with us, that sort of thing, because we're still relatively new to draft, right? I mean, we've only been doing it for what, half a year? Yeah. So I mean, it's still... Well, no, it's about a year now. So you first drafted in Shadows, didn't you? Yeah, but I drafted in August, September time. So it's not been a year yet.
That was when Kaladesh came out.
Oh, okay, no, yeah. So yeah, June, July time.
Well, you might have done it in Eldritch Moon.
I did draft in Eldritch Moon, and I drafted some Shadows
shortly after that. So.
Yeah, I drafted some Shadows. So actually, yeah, it's earlier than I thought. Okay, so yeah, because I think,
but it just doesn't feel that.
It doesn't feel that long ago. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I miss Shadows block.
You could always draft it again and get a few Shadows in.
I tell you what, though, I'm definitely now going Azorius with my Commander deck. Right? Pop in a Linvala. It's not every day you just crack a pack and find a Linvala inside. That's a nice surprise. So, shall we talk about some Commander stuff?
Oh, Commander. I like Commander.
Commander.
Some of the best games I've ever played have been Commander.
EDH.
Do you know? Sound as good as Commander.
I don't know, I kind of like it.
No, I kind of like the non-abbreviated version of it.
I mean, I get it. You've got a Commander, right? But Commander is technically the one that is branded by Magic, by Wizards of the Coast. Yeah. Right? EDH... Which do you know what it stands for, John? We'll do a pub quiz.
Something Dragon Highlander.
Elder Dragon Highlander. That's the one. Yeah, you got it.
Yeah. So I'd prefer to call it Elder Dragon Highlander rather than Commander, but rather call it Commander than EDH.
Interesting.
Yeah, because Elder Dragon Highlander sounds awesome. But EDH just sounds crap.
I don't know. EDH sounds fun because it's quick to say. People know what you're talking about. They're like, oh yeah, EDH. I love EDH.
Most people would know what you're talking about if you said Commander, though.
True. Yeah, most people do know what you're talking about when you say Commander. Just got to avoid that Wizards of the Coast branding. Ha ha ha. No, I'm joking.
We can't avoid it. We're talking about Magic the Gathering.
That is an inherent issue.
Yeah.
So, Commander, EDH, Elder Dragon, Highlander, 100 card, good stuff. Singleton, Bash Boys, whatever you want to call it. It's a format. And there are many formats in Magic.
Yes,
aren't there, John? There are many formats.
Some good, some not so good.
Some definitely not so good. some cheap, some very cheap.
And
some
very
you
expensive. Need to take out a mortgage for.
Yeah, some that you wish you could play, but certainly won't be able to any side of this lifetime. And of course, there are some that are trying to be as accessible as possible. There are some which are trying to shape the competitive community. Some which are kind of laughing at it. So I figured it might be fun for us to have a bit of a chat about formats in general.
Yeah.
And maybe what your opinion on the different formats is, and which formats you think are probably best for a newer player or someone that's returning to the game after quite some time away. I think that might be fun.
Yeah.
So I think the first thing to address with it is that each format tailors to different needs.
Yes.
Right. I mean, there's a lot of them out there. We'll be naming some of the most popular ones, but there are more formats out there. And I mean, people are making new formats every day, which is really cool. And you know, all the better for it. So I'll go over a few, I guess, and then you say, I tell you what, do you want to do a thumbs up, thumbs down, kind of like Caesar thing?
Yeah. Why not?
We'll do, so what, thumbs up good for a newer player, thumbs down bad for a newer player, middle, yeah? Or
yeah.
Would you like to do your opinion on it in general?
We can do one for a newer player and one for...
an established player?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so right is newer. Oh, right, okay, so right is the newer player, left is what we think.
So we can do like that.
Okay. I'll try and figure this out. Let's give it a try. Let's give it a try. So okay, so we'll start with the one that Wizards loves most, standard. I'm gonna say
well, I know standard for newer players, I think maybe a bit.
It's more, I'd say it's approachable.
Yeah.
Especially if you're playing a lot of limited, it's approachable.
Yeah.
Because you get that pool of cards which you can trade with people. I don't like it. I don't like standard as it currently stands. I don't enjoy it. And that's fine. You know, people have different opinions. Yeah. It seems we're very agreed on this. So, I mean, for me, I'll let you speak your thoughts, but for me, standard it has a lot of balancing issues at the minute.
Yes, it does.
And there's been a lot of problems that have been overlooked.
Yes.
And it's also just the prices of the cards. I get it because they're used in tournament play, right? I get it because there's a lot on the line. But to me, just the prices are just way too crazy for the power level.
Yeah.
You know, which is kind of a disappointment. But I get it. I understand why that happens. It's just one of the necessary evils, in my opinion.
Yeah. I don't seriously dislike standard. I mean, I enjoyed drafting it. It's not. It's not full standard, but it's still, I like some of the cards. I think it can work if you have like a gentleman's agreement with your mates, but as a tournament,
see, I get it because like the standard rotation is very good for tournaments.
Yeah.
In the sense that because you have a controlled pool of cards, you can kind of maintain this level of equality, I suppose, across decks, and almost a level of just standardized quality. To use standard in its most blunt of forms, standardized quality, right? And every now and then some budget decks do come out, that are, they come into the format and they're quite competitive. They're usually not top tier, but they kind of make their way in. But this is the problem with Standard, is because it's so in demand and because it's so tournament friendly and there's so much going on with it. It's so heavily promoted as a sole format. These budget decks come in, say at $25. The video gets made on it, and like by the Mana Source or Tolarian Community College or any of the large upstanding YouTube channels, which, by the way, they are fantastic channels.
Yes,
absolutely fantastic channels. They create these videos, get it exposed to the masses of Standard players, and that is when the price spikes from $25 all the way up to $100, $200, or depending. I mean, a perfect example of this, coming and going, is the Pummeler energy deck that existed in Kaladesh overnight from Tolarian Community College making his video. It pretty much went from a $20-$30 deck, excluding the mana base, up to a $70-$80 deck, and then that went up, and then it has since died down again, and now the Pummeler is worth a couple of dollars at most, when at its peak it was worth tens of dollars. And I think that's part of the problem with the format. So that's Standard. That's my opinions.
I don't mind playing it with mates if we have like an agreement not to play certain combos, not play certain cards or whatnot.
Yeah.
I don't see a huge, massive problem with it. Just not with some of the combos, Healy and Eldar Guardians.
The Flicker Key.
Fortunately, not very good. But
fortunately, Guardian's banned now. So
it took. When did Eldar Guardian come out? Was that Kaladesh or Aether Revolt?
That was Aether Revolt, I believe.
Yeah.
Actually,
it shouldn't. Was it?
It might have been Kaladesh.
Might have been Kaladesh. It took them a whole set to figure it out.
I think, it was Kaladesh.
It took them the entire R&D cycle and a couple of sets to figure it out.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. I mean, they admitted it was their fault.
Yeah.
So at least they took responsibility.
This is the thing. If R&D did their jobs properly, they wouldn't need to ban any cards in Standard.
Yeah, and I mean,
because it shouldn't be difficult to test the cards in Standard against each other. Testing cards against Modern, that can be difficult. But
yeah, I mean, I suppose one of the problems with it was as well, though, they did shift around how the rotation worked.
Yeah, but this is in the same set. It's an infinite combo in the same set.
I know, and that in itself is a problem. But
when they banned Emrakul, that was used in conjunction with what was it?
Aetherworks Marble.
Yeah.
Which still is the set following
Yeah.
Eldritch, so it's not exactly a hidden combo. But I mean, I think the thing is they just have a lot to learn with it, and obviously that's something that they need to really work on and improve for the future sets. Armenket seems fun, and it seems to address some of the problems with things like Mardu vehicles and stuff like that. But honestly, I'm just not a big fan of Standard, and I think the thing is, because I only really got into it when Kaladesh came around, and that was such a sour point for Standard, I think that's kind of just the whole
hopefully, I mean, at the moment, Wizards are working on the set list coming out like 2 years time, 3 years time now. So, Standard's probably going to be in the same state for the next few years,
unless they retroactively
try to do something about it in the intervening period. But the set that's coming out in like 2 years time is all probably almost been finalised or whatnot. Not been finalised, but you're probably working on.
It's made quite a bit of headway. Yeah. Okay. Well, shall we move on to the next format?
Yeah.
We dwelled on Standard for a bit long, so we didn't like Standard. I'm gonna now say, how about Modern? And I'm gonna do this.
Yeah.
Oh,
hang on. That's new, isn't it?
Yeah, this is new players.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Modern.
Now, the reason for this, explain yours, John. Go on, give me your thoughts.
Because it's damn expensive. A new player is not going to spend £1,000 on one deck. No way.
They might. They might.
You're not going to spend £1,000 on something you know nothing about. No, it's not good for new players.
You might.
Yeah, if you got £1,000,000 to burn.
It's not good. It's not good for new players, and I think we both agree on that. In the sense that, I mean, it's a really great and evolving format, and it's got some really cool interactions, but it is very expensive.
And also, it can also be a bit confusing for new players because there's a lot of things going on.
Mechanics.
There's quite likely to be an infinite combo somewhere.
Yeah.
And for a new player to figure that out, it could probably be a bit difficult.
Yeah, I think it's good to establish a harder learning curve, though. But anyway, what were your thoughts? So you said you were very middle on it on your own thoughts.
Again, it's the infinite combo situation. I don't really like them. In a tournament, in a tournament, it has to be officially banned for you to actually have fun with it, I think. But if you're playing with mates, I think if you can say, don't use this combo, don't use this card or whatnot.
I think the problem is that when you police cards too heavily, you then create this problem of, well, the game is meant to be able to be played in your own way, and this is why I like Modern, because the idea of Modern is you have such a large pool of cards that you have a very large amount of options of how you want to approach the game, and so I don't necessarily think that infinite combos and things like that are bad for Modern, just because there are so many options to counteract those combos. I think it's mostly you learning what are the really competitive combos, especially if you're trying to play the game competitively. You have to be aware of those combos, and you need to be able to sideboarding cards that counteract them. I think that's all part of the strategy, because a lot of these combos are difficult to pull off. Not every combo is necessarily a 2-card combo. Some might be 3, 4-card combos. I mean, we've seen combos that are essentially turn 2 kills or turn 1 kills that literally rely on you having the hand, and if you don't have the hand, you don't win the game, you go to game 2, which, while that's not necessarily great for the format, I think it's also really great for the player base that they have this ability to express themselves through the way they play, rather than being limited to to certain things. And the ban list for Modern is large. It's pretty big, it's sizable, and it's growing as more and more cards are added, obviously. And I think that actually, as a format, it's quite healthy. It's just the problem is it's the cost and those needed reprints.
There's the cost. The reason I was in the middle as well, I mean, there's I definitely don't dislike it. I mean, because there's such a large card pool, there's bound to be some kind of decks that people still haven't thought about, or that you haven't heard about. That you may have may be able to discover that for yourself. So there's that element of discovery with it as well. It's not I wouldn't say it's terrible. I mean, there is a cost. There's the fact that you could be playing against something which nobody would ever be able to win against, unless you got the right got to build a deck specifically for that one or things like that. So that
I think the thing with Modern is it's really fun for brewers as well, because I saw it was a while back now. It was when Kaladesh had come out, so a fair while back now. We're talking 6 months ago. So there was a guy who made a deck for a local tournament, and he actually came either first or second. I don't entirely remember, but there were like 40 attendees or something. So it was reasonable. And he'd done it with this homebrewed deck that he spent $75 on. And it was just a really wacky deck with just a stupid combo, and that's why I don't hate the combos, because they enable these really just stupid situations that just shouldn't exist, but they do, and it's hilarious. And to me, that's what Magic should be allowing players to do. It shouldn't be limiting them on that front. So I do like Modern as a format. I think the problem with Modern is just the cost at the minute. And I would imagine a lot of people would agree with that, because there's so many options, and sure, there are some broken combos, and I think those are slowly getting banned, but I think for the most part it's a very fast-paced game. You can do it on a budget if you're playing a bit more casually, like we used to, when I used to run my Tron deck and things like that. That was pretty budget, and you can do stuff like that. And it also means, especially if you're an older player returning to the game, a lot of the cards that you might still have with you are likely to be Modern legal, because it's everything from 9th edition onwards. So that's pretty cool. So I mean, that's modern.
Yeah.
So we covered standard, modern, and I mean, we could do vintage, but I feel like
modern, extended.
This is the thing.
We've got the same.
Vintage is essentially ramped up price, and so is Legacy. Both, higher prices. I've never had experience with them myself. I know there's a lot of potential turn ones and things like that. So I can't really comment on the format in itself because I haven't seen enough of it. I would probably say though it's not a very approachable format for a newer player.
Oh, definitely not.
Because it's just crazy. Like the vintage and legacy players in the world, touche. Like, absolutely continue playing. You are doing some great work out there, creating these just utterly absurd combos that are just amazing. But I don't get you. That's pretty much it. I don't know what you're doing. But I mean, related to Legacy and Vintage is a format that I think we both quite enjoy, and we've both kind of stumbled into as of the last probably 5 months, I'd say. And that is our good old friend of many names, EDH, Elder Dragon Highlander, Commander, Charmander, all of the things, and go. What are you doing? What is that?
It's kind of in between.
Oh, you're right. You're doing like a 45-degree angle thing. Yeah.
Because it's good. I think with newer again, it's like the problem newer players might have with modern is that there's a lot of things going on. I mean, even with established players, like what we had last night.
Yeah.
It was just a nightmare trying to figure out the entire stack. It was just. Oh, it was complex.
To be fair though, that was a 6-player game.
Yes, it was.
And 6-player games are notorious in the EDH world for being just nuts. I mean, absolutely absurd. So.
The thing is with Commander, I think there's a lot of stuff going on. You got to keep track of all your triggers and all the stuff that's going on in your board, and then you've also got to look at your opponents. And if you play more than one opponent, you got to keep track of all of them as well. Yeah. And for a newer player, that can definitely get confusing. I mean, if you're a newer player just playing against one person, probably be a lot easier, and it would definitely be fun. It's easy to build a deck, so you haven't really got to worry too much about that kind of stuff. You can find some commanders that are really easy to build around. My first commander, Imara Tandris, so easy to build around.
Yeah.
There were some commanders I got which I'm still confused on, but that was easy to build around, and I think for newer players, yes, it can definitely be good as long as you're not playing against too many people. But for established players, definitely go for it. Absolutely fantastic.
I'd say that's fair enough. I mean, Commander for me, it's kind of everything I've ever wanted, so I really enjoy it. It's 100 cards, no duplicates, so it's a Highlander game mode.
There can be only one.
And this introduces some really cool things because generally you don't get repeated cards. So whereas in standard or modern, you might have a lot of hatred for specific cards that constantly crop up, you don't really get that in Commander because it only tends to come up once unless they have a way of recurring.
Yeah.
Which,
like
it does happen. Commander's super fun. It's very diverse. You get all of the options that you would get in modern, essentially, in regards to how you build your deck. You have this challenge of building around your commander, but you can also choose, which is my preferred way of doing it, but you can also choose to not build around your commander if you want and just have them there purely for the colours in your deck. Essentially, to clarify it for really new players, your commander, you can only play cards in your deck with the colour that is in your commander. So if your commander has those colours in the casting cost or in its activated abilities, then those colours can be used, otherwise they can't. And it's super fun, really, really fun. It's designed for multiplayer, so a lot of crazy things happen. And the cool thing is, Commander makes the cards which would otherwise be unplayable, playable. And this is the really strong point of Commander, is it can be cheap because you can take cards which otherwise are disregarded by modern or standard players, and so the prices are really low, and you can play those cards because you know you're going to have more mana in a game of Commander, and it's going to become more useful in a game of Commander, and it's just really fun. It's such a diverse game mode. The only problem with it is it can be very intimidating to initially approach, and this is the reason I say a middle, is because it can be very intimidating at times, especially if you don't know where to start at all, especially if you're a brand new player and you don't have any legendaries.
Yeah.
You're just like, well, I mean,
don't know with a new player, you're probably best off getting Commander decks at Wizards.
This is
releases.
the thing. Exactly. There are yearly releases of Commander decks, which here in the UK are about £25 to £30, and obviously after they come out, the better ones tend to spike up in price, but they start at £25 to £30, and they're not amazingly built, but they work.
I haven't actually played with ones.
No. Well, you've played with Hugs, they work, and that's what matters. Is you can buy those decks. You can play them with your friends if they have this. They don't have to have the same decks from the same sets. They can have whatever they want. You can play it. It's a very casual format. It's not exactly a tournament-friendly format. I mean, there are some tournaments that exist, but it's not as prominent on the scene at the minute. It's just a very fun format. You can play those decks, and then what you can do is later on you can switch out the cards, some of the cards that you've got in there, for cards which you think better suit your strategy, and you can modify the deck from there.
Yeah.
And I think that's the real strength of Commander, is because it constantly evolves. So does your deck, but you don't have to do that. You can keep a deck quite stagnant, and then just choose to change it as and when you want to.
Yeah. Whereas with a lot of constructed, usually built around one or two kind of specific things you want to do with it. So if you swap out one card, it's just not going to work.
Yeah.
I suppose you could say Commander's quite modular.
Yeah. Commander's just super fun. It's a great format. The games go on for longer, so it might be a bit tiring for newer players, but I think it's definitely one of the funnest ones.
Yeah.
And we've had the most fun playing it, I would say.
Yeah.
Okay. I think that's most of the forms. Oh,
we got two more to go.
There are two more considerable ones. Are you on about the P and the F? All right, I'll say them, and then if you don't know what we're on about, then we'll continue. So, hands out. Pauper.
Oh, I didn't actually think of that one, but
okay.
Oh no, I know what you're talking about now.
Okay.
Limited ones as well.
Oh yeah, but limited. Yeah, just continue.
Okay. Pauper.
So yep, that's what I'll go for. So the reason Pauper gets thumbs up is because you just use common cards. So
I haven't actually played it though, but
no.
I can see why it'd be great for established players and new players alike, because it's cheap. It's as I was saying to Rich earlier, I wanted to make an emergency Pauper deck.
Yeah.
Just a cheap deck that I could carry around in my pocket, and if I got nothing to do, so got a mate with me, just play bit of Magic. Don't worry about not sleeving them or anything like that, because they cost like a penny a card. And
real Pauper decks, just dirt decks essentially.
And you can have a fun 5 minutes with Magic decks. It doesn't take up much space, because you don't have to worry about all the sleeves or the fancy deck boxes or anything like that. Just a short deck that you can just play with. And I think I want to build one
Magic.
and just start carrying that around with me everywhere I go. Because last night started to play Magic and I had no cards whatsoever on me.
Yeah, and it's one of those things like Pauper. It's just so cheap and so approachable for new players. It's a little bit intimidating because you've got to do the deck building, but there's a lot of deck lists online, and there's the Pauper subreddit, which is absolutely fantastic if you want to get into Pauper. It's insane. They do like deck lists, advice. You can ask questions about cards and all that stuff. It's really, really well done. So there is a building community for it. There's actually a lot of things at F&M. A lot of people play Pauper, or you can get them into playing Pauper because it's such an approachable format. People are generally up for it. And also I think the thing is, like, Pauper decks can get more expensive. That's the thing we need to remember. Don't get me wrong, they can get expensive, because there are some commons out there that are very expensive.
I don't understand why they're commons.
Yeah, but it's just because they're powerful, and because Pauper is becoming a format now. But the thing about it is it's a really fun format. It's much like Modern. You've got Legacy or Vintage or Commander. You've got every common card ever printed, aside from the ban list, which I think is tiny at the minute. And it's just great. It's just build a Pauper deck. It's really, it's so cheap at the minute. You might as well, right?
I got quite a few Kaladesh cards at home, lying about at home, so I'll try to build a deck out of that.
Yeah, and I mean, it's not super competitive, so you can still have a lot of fun with it, which is nice. I mean, there are some people do little tournaments and stuff, but for the most part, it's pretty basic. The next one is Frontier,
which is kind of like a short Modern.
Which I kind of want to do. I kind of want to do a this. Brum.
I mean, yeah, because it's kind of like in the middle of Modern and Standard, isn't it?
Yeah, because it's the problem. The problem with Frontier is it's still a little bit expensive. If you catch the cards, essentially Frontier is every card from M15 onwards, because they established at M15 they established a floor for power ratios, which they then quickly ruined with Kaladesh. But essentially, it's really well balanced, and it follows a very similar ban list to like Standard or something like that on Modern, and it seems fun. I've not played it myself personally, so once again, it's one of these because I can't really absolutely recommend it.
Yeah.
But it seems interesting. I'm trying to build one at the minute. I'm trying to build a Frontier deck because it seems like a cool format to me. I like the fact that it's not too limiting, but it's also not creating these ridiculous combinations. Essentially, if you had the description of Modern and how it's really expensive and you're worried about all of these crazy combos, then maybe Frontier is a better choice for you because the price is down a bit. Admittedly, it's still close to Standard prices because you'll mostly be playing with cards that are either in Standard or have recently gone out of rotation. I mean, you could go, if you go all the way back to M15, then you're fine. But you're playing with more recent cards, so there's naturally a bit higher of a cost. But I think you're not going to run into so many problems with those combinations. Obviously, some of them do exist, but hopefully they wouldn't be too much of an issue. And that's my opinion on Frontier.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, haven't played it.
I have no opinion, but as I say, I can see it being a bit in between Modern and Standard.
It's an emerging format, so at the minute it's a bit unyieldy because it's still quite recent. It's still kind of gaining its legs, but hopefully it will thrive like Pauper has, because the more formats, the better. But also, the more formats, the more expensive cards get, weirdly enough, which is kind of annoying. I mean, the only thing we can hope is for more reprints from Wizards of the Coast, because really reprints are going to be what's cutting down these costs. Not by a lot, admittedly, but when things are reprinted a lot, then that's when we begin to see those price drops. If you look at something like Inquisition of Kozilek, that's a great example, reprinted in both Conspiracy 2 and Modern Masters 2017, so two very recent sets, within a year of each other, and that price has gone down quite a bit. It seems like a pretty affordable card at this point. Cool. So yeah, I mean, that's pretty much our thoughts on the formats. Now you wanted to talk about Limited, right?
Yeah.
Go on.
Do we want to do Limited?
What Limited? Oh, you want to give your thoughts on Limited, John?
Okay.
Go on. Right, you ready?
Come on then.
Okay.
Which kind of Limited do we want to do? Draft or
just Limited in general?
Just Limited in general.
Yeah. Limited in general.
Okay.
All right. 3, 2, 1. Hey, we like Limited.
Yes. Draft. I think is I think the best format for new players would be sealed, because with Draft I think you gotta kind of think as you go.
Yeah.
Whereas with sealed, you got all the cards there, and you can just kind of try to build it, from that pool there. And I think for new players it'll be a bit easier, which is why pre-release is always a good thing to go to, no matter who you are. Draft is always fun. Again, it's what I like about Draft and sealed as well is that you're not restricted by price. you're restricted by the luck of the cards you've got and the skill of the player. And so you're not going to lose against £1,000 deck.
No.
You're going to lose because
unless someone pulls
somebody's a better player than you.
Nothing but Linvalas.
You're going to lose because somebody had better luck of the cards, or he's a better player. And so it's a good way to judge your skill at the game. I think much better than how much money you spend on a deck.
Yeah, I mean, the thing with Draft and Sealed is, I think I've played enough of it at this point that I can kind of garner an opinion on it. I've spent enough money on just rando boosters. Essentially, Draft and Sealed is like a standard environment where, like John said, the cost doesn't come into it so much because everyone's essentially on an even playing field. Of course, you have that chance to open a huge bomb, in which case you're probably going to first pick it, no doubt. I mean, this pack with Linvala is a great example. We get Linvala, it's like, yep, that's going in there straight away. No doubt about it. The thing about Draft is it's a really good format, not because of the way it makes you play or the way that the decks are kind of structured, but it's the way that it teaches you how to play Magic. Now, this is like the hidden value of Sealed or Limited, right? Sorry, Limited in general. So both Draft and Sealed teach you how to build a deck, right? To limitations. You only have 40 cards, 20 free playables, 17 land is the essential go-to, or you can change that around if needed to like 22, 18, whatever. All based on your curve. You figure out how to do a curve, which is really important.
Yeah.
I did not know how to do a curve when I started playing. I did not know a lot of that stuff. I was a dum-dum. Now I know how to build decks. You figure out which cards to prioritize, and most importantly, you get that ability to understand, especially once you get a better understanding of the set as a whole, you get that ability to understand which cards are key and which cards really stand out, which is really interesting because when you're building a deck for standard or for modern or for whatever format you're playing, you're going to want those standout cards. So being able to go online, search through a bunch of cards from a list, right, and just read through their abilities and go, this is a standout card. This one seems good, but it's actually terrible. This is an amazing card. Like, I don't even know why they printed it at this cost or whatever. Smuggler's Copter, a great example. You go through and you kind of look at all of these things and you go, okay, these are bombs, these aren't. Getting that ability to immediately kind of recognize that, or very quickly recognize that, which you especially need to do for Draft, where you're expected to pass quite quickly, is really important, because it means that when you're building decks later on, you've kind of got that layer of knowledge of you've got that understanding of how the game is played and what costs and abilities imply and things like that. And it's just a really good way to learn the game quite quickly, which is why I say it's good for newer players. Yeah. Also, it's a good way to get cards. I mean, if you play Sealed, you get to keep all the cards you opened. If you play Draft, you get cards from everyone's packs. Sure, it might not be as great if you get a really standout pack, but most of the time it's going to work out quite well. And you get this basis, and then you can trade cards you don't need and that sort of thing. And it's a really good way of starting a collection, whilst also learning how to build a deck and prioritize things. And I think gameplay wise, I've had some really fun Draft games, both wins and losses. I've had some really awesome pack openings, like that one time I opened a Tireless Tracker, a Tamiyo, a Spell Queller, like just loads of stupid stuff in Eldritch and Shadows, and I was like, oh well, I'm going Bant. Or that time I opened Avacyn in my first draft. I opened Archangel Avacyn, and I was just like, okay, this card seems really, really good because it's got a red logo. I think that stuff, those moments, they kind of stick with you, which is really cool. And I think that's why the format's good. The matches, you get to meet a lot of people in the format, as you would with any tournament. But I think, draft's really fun and very approachable for new players. So I would give it 2 thumbs up, 10 out of 10. Yeah, I think that's pretty much all of my thoughts regarding formats. You said we were missing 2.
Yeah, that was the limited ones.
Oh, just limited.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, we did say we were going to talk about Planechase.
Ooh, Planechase.
As you can kind of see in the background, up here is Planechase Anthology, which I recently bought on a whim, because I got it for about half of its regular retail price. And essentially, I just wanted to kind of say it's a really fun thing.
Yeah.
And if you're like us and you play a lot of Commander or you play a lot of multiplayer games, consider buying Planechase.
It's brilliant for multiplayer.
It's just really wacky. If you like just spinny stuff that makes no sense, and just games that go all over the place, get Planechase. It's great.
Brilliant. Yesterday we were playing Planechase. I went first. We had a plane. What was the plane? I can't remember the plane.
It was a plane that was on Zendikar. I don't remember the exact plane it was.
But it allowed me to play as many lands as I wanted to. So I think I had about 4 lands.
Yeah,
in my
you
hand.
just dumped 4 lands.
Boom, boom, 4 lands first turn.
In Commander.
Then I played 1 card, and then I rolled the dice and immediately planeswalk to another plane, so nobody else could have that advantage. So I had a massive advantage just to start. Absolutely fantastic.
It's super spinny.
Yeah.
And like there's some planes which double damage that's dealt. One of the funniest things I think I've done was actually at work. So I was on my lunch break and we were playing a game, and the Eldrazi one came out, which is essentially, it's like a Hedron network or something. It says creatures with power 7 or greater can't attack or block, and you're like, oh, that's a bit weird. And then you look at the chaos, and it's literally whenever you roll chaos, create a 7/7 Eldrazi with Annihilator 1. And I was like, immediately started rolling. This was on turn 2. I rolled and got 2 Eldrazi's and then planeswalked. So I was like, yes, boys, 14 damage ready on the board.
It is fantastic.
With Annihilator as well, which is just nuts. Super fun format, just crazy. It also comes with 4 decks that actually have some really good cards in.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking the likes of Maelstrom Wanderer, that other card. I jest, but there's a lot of good cards, especially if you're into Commander. There's some pretty cool legendaries, some pretty neat artifacts, that sort of thing. There's some good stuff in there.
Planechase with Commanders, definitely recommended.
Yeah, so I mean, especially because the Planechase cards themselves are so expensive, I would definitely recommend getting the Planechase Anthology if you don't have the planes already, because they're just great. It's so much just spinny fun, and if you're into that, and if your play group is kind of just like a bit more casual like us, and they're not so highly strung competitive, it's absolutely perfect, because you can just really enjoy the games and enjoy just the hilariously stupid moments that occur. There's just some dumb stuff that's happened with that game.
Turn 1, 4 lands and a creature already on the card. Nobody else has that advantage. Yeah, why not?
Yeah,
take it.
That was pretty good. Pretty upsetting for me. Although I was playing my Alicia deck and I got that double strike and haste creature thing, where it's like, oh, all creatures have double strike and haste. I was like, yes, please. Boom, boom, boom. Extra commander damage. But yeah, so I mean, Planechase, consider getting it if you don't already, especially because at the minute it's pretty cheap, because not a lot of people bought it.
Why?
Because I think the thing is, a lot of people
probably
didn't really
because of the
understand
price
value.
as well. The price was ridiculous though to start with. So
yeah, that's probably what it was. But anyway, I think that's pretty much me. I mean, I've talked about everything I want to talk about. Have you talked about everything you want to talk about?
Did we do Flip It or Rip It?
Oh no, we didn't discuss. No, well, we kind of did. We flipped or ripped some Eternal Masters, and I triggered John.
Oh yes, we did.
We did. Yeah, we did cover it. So here's the image again. There you go. That was.
No.
You're welcome.
No.
Let's flip it or rip it. All right. Well, thank you very much.
Yeah, I'm gonna flip that angel. Rip that angel.
No, don't.
See, now I'm triggering him.
So. Yeah, that
we could have played Flip It or Rip It with that, and you would have screamed. I bet you.
Still usable in Commander. Still legal. Anything goes. Right, okay. Well, thank you very much for listening or watching this episode of First Pick. Hopefully we're going to keep it up. It's actually, I think it's nice just sitting down talking about something we enjoy.
Yeah.
And kind of
cool.
just the weird, giving our thoughts. It's nice. Don't forget to post your first pick for the pack and any other suggestions of stuff you want us to talk about, or things you'd like us to generally have a bit of banter about, or anything, any of your thoughts on what we've discussed. We'd be interested in reading them, and we will actually read them all because we're such a small channel right now.
Yeah, we can actually read them all.
We can actually read them all, and we will. We will. All right. Thank you very much for listening / watching. Goodbye.
Bye. Cool. You want to play some Magic now?
Yeah.
Cool.
Let's play some Magic. Because, it's not like we've been talking about it for the last however long. 58 minutes.